Hello and welcome to the Parenting Compass. If you're here, it's because you're navigating the complex, rewarding, and sometimes challenging journey of parenting. My name is Jenny Lee, and I'm a psychology and empowerment specialist for youth. Over the years, I've worked with countless families to help them create calmer, more respectful communication within their homes, even in the face of those tough moments. Today, we're going to talk about managing backtalk, a common frustration for parents. You know the scenario. You ask your child to do something simple, and instead of cooperation, you get an eye roll, a sarcastic comment, or even outright defiance. It can feel infuriating and disrespectful, but here's the thing. Backtalk is often less about disrespect and more about a child testing boundaries or expressing emotions they don't yet know how to handle. In this video, we're going to explore why backtalk happens, what it really means, and how to respond in a way that de-escalates the situation while maintaining your authority. Let's start by reframing how we see backtalk. It's easy to label it as bad behavior, but at its core, it's a form of communication. Kids, especially as they grow older, use backtalk to assert independence, test limits, or express frustration. While the delivery isn't ideal, the underlying message is often, "I want to be heard," or "I'm struggling to handle my emotions right now." Research insight. According to child development experts, backtalk is particularly common during two developmental stages: early childhood, around 3 to 6 years old, and adolescence. Both are times when kids are working hard to assert their autonomy and figure out their place in the world. A study in the Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatry found that how parents respond to backtalk plays a significant role in whether it escalates into ongoing conflict or resolves constructively. In my own practice, I've seen this dynamic play out time and again. One family I worked with had a teenager, Mia, who frequently talked back with sarcastic remarks whenever her parents set rules. Initially, her parents responded with frustration, which only made the exchanges more heated. But once they began focusing on listening and de-escalating rather than reacting, they noticed a dramatic shift in how Mia communicated it. Why reacting calmly matters. I get it. Staying calm when faced with backtalk is easier said than done. It can feel like a personal attack, especially if you've gone out of your way to support and care for your child. But here's the key. When you respond calmly, you're modeling the behavior you want to see in your child. Kids learn how to handle conflict by watching how we handle it. If we respond to their sass with yelling or sarcasm of our own, we're showing them that anger and escalation are acceptable responses to frustration. But if we stay composed, we're teaching them how to navigate disagreements with respect and emotional control. Case example. I worked with a family whose son, Ethan, often snapped back with comments like, "Why do I have to do everything?" when asked to help with chores. His mom's initial reaction was to argue back, which quickly turned small requests into big battles. Once she started responding with calm, clear expectations, "I know you're frustrated, but chores are part of being in a family," Ethan's resistance began to decrease. Recognizing triggers. One important part of managing backtalk is understanding the triggers behind it. Kids don't typically lash out randomly. There's usually an underlying reason. Maybe they're tired, overwhelmed, or feeling like their voice isn't being heard. Think about the context when backtalk happens in your home. Is it more common during transitions, like getting ready for school? Does it happen when you're asking your child to stop doing something they enjoy, like playing video games? Recognizing these patterns can help you address the root cause rather than just reacting to the symptom. Balancing authority and connection. One of the most common challenges parents face is finding the balance between maintaining authority and staying connected to their child. It's tempting to respond to backtalk with something like, "Don't you dare speak to me that way." While it's important to set boundaries, shutting down the conversation entirely can make your child feel unheard or resentful. Instead, try to balance firmness with empathy. Acknowledge their feelings while holding your ground. For example, if your child says, "This is so unfair," when you set a rule, you might respond, "I hear that you're upset, but the rule still stands." This approach shows your child that their feelings matter, but it also reinforces the importance of respecting boundaries. When to address the behavior. Another thing to consider is timing. Addressing backtalk in the heat of the moment often leads to more conflict. Sometimes, the best course of action is to de-escalate first and address the behavior later when emotions have cooled. For instance, if your child snaps, "Why do you always tell me what to do?" You might calmly say, "I'm happy to talk about this when we're both calm. Let's take a break for now." This gives both of you a chance to reset and approach the situation with clearer heads. The role of natural consequences. When backtalk crosses a line, like name-calling or yelling, it's important to set boundaries without overreacting. Natural consequences can be an effective way to do this. For example, if your child talks back when you remind them to clean their room, a natural consequence might be delaying a privilege, like screen time, until the task is completed respectfully. The key is to stay calm and consistent. Avoid punitive measures that feel more like retaliation than teaching. The goal is to help your child understand the impact of their words and actions while reinforcing the importance of respectful communication. Finally, let's talk about empathy. Backtalk often stems from a place of frustration or unmet needs. When you take a moment to understand what's driving your child's behavior, it changes the dynamic. Instead of seeing them as defiant, you start to see them as a young person navigating big emotions. In my work, I've seen how powerful empathy can be. One mom I worked with started responding to her son's outbursts with, "It sounds like you're really upset right now. Can you tell me what's going on?" That simple shift in tone and approach helped her son feel heard, which reduced the frequency of his backtalk over time. Managing backtalk isn't about eliminating it completely. Let's face it, kids are going to push boundaries. It's part of growing up. But by responding calmly, understanding triggers, and balancing authority with empathy, you can turn those moments of conflict into opportunities for growth and connection. Thank you for joining me today on the Parenting Compass. If this conversation resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share this video with other parents. Together, let's create calmer, more respectful homes where both parents and kids can thrive. I'll see you in the next video.